evening, everybody. Today we were speaking about juvenile drug abuse and why it needs more attention. Did you know that according to the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime 2018, 13.8 million young people who are mostly students aged between 15 to 16 used cannabis at least once in 2016. As we all know, marijuana is a gateway drug. According to the same report, juveniles of that age bracket face the risk of acquiring mental health disorders such as anxiety and depression as a result of using the drugs, such as cannabis, heroin, LSD. Cannabis is the most common drug among juveniles because it is mainly available at an affordable price to them. Today I will be speaking to you about this subject because you might know someone who is affected by these drugs, or even someone here today among yourself. We are all casualties of drug abuse in one way or another because the age bracket mentioned includes us, family, or friends. I'm here to specifically share with you the dangers of drugs among juveniles so that we can all go out there and liberate as many youths as possible from this nightmare. Apart from that, we will look at the reasons for engaging in drugs at an early age and suggest the possible solutions to fight it. First, I will begin by highlighting the reasons why individuals as young as below 18 years of age might find himself or herself drowning into drugs. The first notable reason is peer pressure from others around them to try to look cool or to fit in. Juveniles also venture into drugs because of environmental and family factors like parental use. If their parents use around them, it's seen as acceptable. Early exposure to drug, substance use, or abusive behavior acts as an important mechanism to facilitate juveniles to try them out. That was said by Fisher in 1997. The socioeconomic status of a parent can result in Great Depression, which might force children to venture into drugs to cope with the pressure of stress and living in poverty. Also, the curiosity of young people is always high. Some start drugs just for experimentation to get the answers on how pills taste or feel. During this process, they find themselves caught up and eventually become addicts. Secondly, we are going to look at the long-term and short-term dangers associated with drugs amongst juveniles. The dangers of drugs can be felt by families, communities, the state, and the individual user. To the victims using drugs, it can cause a permanent mental impairment which might result in memory loss. Drugs like marijuana are a mutagenic and can impair the breathing system of the user. That was said by Yun in 2003. Drug use among juveniles increases the levels of criminal activities in the community. Since the subjects are not financially stable or self-supported, the users turn to criminal activities to raise funds and purchase drugs and settle their addictions. In the majority of countries, possession and buying of drugs are illegal, and that includes the juveniles. If they are found guilty by law, they will be arrested and sentenced as per requirement. The worst effect of drug addiction is death, and this results sometimes from depression. Abuse of drugs results in despair, and teenagers are vulnerable and are too weak to deal with the situation, therefore forcing them to commit suicide, whether it be intentional or accidental overdose. Despite the vast dangers associated with drug use amongst our fellow young people, combined efforts from everyone in our society can help fight this disaster. I assembled some possible solutions that can be implemented by different people involved to help the fight of the invasion of the drug use amongst juveniles. With the help of the government, we can ensure the incorporation of school-based programs into an educational system to create awareness for minors on the dangers of drug use. Family prevention programs can also be strengthened to increase the family bonds and the use of appropriate discipline. Another family prevention program is a multidimensional family therapy which emphasizes on helping develop more effective coping and problem-solving skills. That was said by Lottie Porer in 2013. The programs help the families to improve interpersonal functioning and education on better decision-making skills. Also, healthcare providers can assist in the prevention of these incidents through guiding and counseling whenever a juvenile patient visits the facility. The government can also participate in setting up and strengthening the existing legislation on the availability of drugs in the country. As I conclude, I want you for a moment to imagine what would happen if the solutions are put into practice and if they are ignored. The use of drugs by the underage population has resulted in unpleasant impacts like death worldwide. Many of these young people are affected negatively by these drugs, and also the community, family, and the nation at large. However, available healthcare providers, community members, schools, and the government can intervene by implementing programs and rules that will decrease juvenile rates and drug use. Educational programs to equip them with the knowledge of drug effects is the best prevention strategy that we can use. Let us all join hands and work together towards saving the great minds of our upcoming generation. Also, remember that a country that with a bright future is a country that invests in its young people's population. Thank you.